Okay, kitties. I mean kids, not cats. That's a kitty, not a kitty. It's a joke. It's our build, Roger. It's your day in court. On the court here. We have a 29-inch BCA here. I get these bikes. It was a store return. In other words, it's not abused or anything. It just didn't fit the guy's purpose. I'm hoping the wind doesn't blow it over. I'm going to have to probably clamp it. Getting all your parts and fitting all your parts first. Fuel tank's not done. It's going to get some cherry, a little closer to that paint color, hopefully. I don't always hit it exact because I'm not the guy that made the factory paint, and I have no idea what color that is, but I like it. The bike is nice. It's going to be a nice clean build, nice adult bike. This is just my one of my engines I fit. It's a high-powered motor, just like the one that's going to go on it. They're almost all identical, except for my Stage 3s, which Brent Noonan, you got one, and I know you keep calling, but you're not going to talk to me the way you did because you don't know how to measure. That's one of the things that we're going to cover, is using this device to get your hub adapter and different things correct. You slide that puppy in there, okay, and then you can get on it with this. I have to spread it. I'm working one-handed here. I'm handicapped. How about if, without me knocking you guys off of here again? I think I did that. I had a video. I was starting to make it, but I didn't. See, the bike wants to leave town here. You take this device I was talking about. You put it around that hub, and then you can tell what size that hub is if you know how to read one of these. I think the bike is drunk, actually. We're going to have to do something with this seat, or block it up, or lay it over until I'm ending the video. But I would like to resound things here. There we go. That's a little bit better. It doesn't want to leave town that way. If you don't know how to read a veneer, which is the proper name, okay, it's actually a truly 1-inch rear hub. Now I like those performance wheels, but these bikes, it's actually American built, out of probably Chinese parts. That's how you do it. You lay this there, and it just tells you exactly what size your hub is. I know I've covered this, and it seems redundant, but I still get the same questions. I think YouTube only features some of my videos. I really don't see many of my truck videos up there, which disappoints me. I'm going to point you guys up because I think you're pointing down. My point I'm trying to make is you need to learn something about fitting your parts first, because guys get all excited when they get this stuff in the box. And I know I did the first time. I had some, what do you want to call it? It's like an anxiety, I guess. You're excited, you want to put it together. And sometimes your first thoughts are not always your best thought. Now, when you become a professional builder, that I build a bike for somebody else, and you want to think about their safety, you don't want to think about any tricks you're going to pull, because you're not going to have the bike long enough to realize what that trick is. It's the point of my videos that I build like a Chevy. I know what I'm putting together is going to work, but it still takes a bit of forethought and fortitude. Sharp drill bits. You don't go to Grandpa's drawer and get his drill bits out that are 30 freaking years old and expect to drill. You know, you need a center punch. Because once you mount this stuff on the bike, if it's crooked, it's your bike, you own it. But I can't do it for a customer. I mean, every now and then a bike has a flaw, and I explain to them, hey, something got away from me or whatever. But it's not that often. I try to do a professional job, and it's the reason why people send me a check in the mail, just like old-fashioned business, and I build their bike. Because, number one, I'm trustworthy. I'm good to my word. Too bad some township officials I know and other people and police aren't. We're having a really sad day and age now with trusting people. You can't let life get away from yourself, especially when you're excited with a build. I know people like things. I know people like to build things. You're not going to make your life any easier by rushing the build. So that's why all the parts are out here. First thing is how our motor is going to mount. I've already determined that. So then today we're going to go and see how this is going to mount and line the chain on the drive sprocket we're going to line that up. Okay? Some of the sprockets I make here, some of the stuff I get imported here. Depends on my time. I'm getting less and less shop time because the shops now, it's not a bad economy. They're getting bigger and bigger. So it just pays me sometimes just to order the stuff instead of, you know, paying mill time to set up a mill and run my program. Because sometimes it takes almost 2.5 hours to set the machine up. Between getting the program in that it'll run the program, and then getting the jig centered that it'll cut the material, and then sometimes getting some of the raw materials that I need, that's another thing. So you can do a lot with a mill, but you really, the mill has to be yours. You can't really rent the shop. It's different. They know I make special aircraft parts and stuff. That's how I got involved in it. Some of these guys, they have aircraft that were built in World War I or before then, or they have home-built stuff, and you just can't buy the shit. You got to make it. That's my specialty, is stuff that can't be done. I could try to recreate it. I'm a good guy at it. Takes a lot of time, but those people have money that own those airplanes. They're not worried about $1,000 or $2,000. They just want their airplane back in service, or their bike, their motorcycle. I find a lot of vintage parts online. It takes me hours. If you're not going to pay me for my time, I'm not. That's why a lot of people just blow you off. But there's a guy that says, hey, I'll pay you for your time. I don't care if it costs up to this amount of money. And a lot of times it does run up, or runs up and beyond a little bit. But then the guy thinks about it and says, geez, this guy did his job, did what he's supposed to do. So lining your stuff up on your bike, on your build, making sure that chain is going to run true with the motor, because a lot of times we have problems with this. When I was buying the garbage stuff, here was a good point to make, and Fred made a couple videos. That gear right there is not always in the position that it should be in. And some of these gears, they're actually, the two other models that I bought, I order internet engines every now and then to see what the innovations and changes are. Some of these these are actually threaded on to the gear, and you're not going to get them off unless you have unless you make the tool to turn that gear off of there. These, fortunately, are still held on by the nut, and you can still turn it, and you can still get your you can still check your clearance and everything on your piston, check your clearance on your head, because head spacing these engines, it's why you see those thicker gaskets and stuff. I head space them that they're supposed to be where they're at. And like I said, I don't always use the engine that's on the bench. I have a couple that are ready to go. I believe this one is. There's about 4 of them sitting in there. But this all coincides with handlebar space. Is there going to be enough room to mount your controls? This bike, I actually like this bike because the handlebars are larger, so I'm not going to have a problem trying to cram my controls on there. I like handlebars because I have big shoulders, a wider body. I don't like a girly handlebar where my hands are real close together and I feel like I'm steering a kiddie car. This feels more like a bike. I sat on it. I like it. It's nice. I turned the seat around. I don't know how the hell I did that, actually. Must have been at beer 30. The beer must have bit me. So we have 2 missing screws on this bike from the factory. I determined that I have those screws, so we're going to fix it my way. Not everything you buy today, I don't care what you pay for it, go over it. Because there's a lot of guys, you guys get these bikes, and I'm going to tell you again about Walmart.